Hello, folks. I'm Joe Wesley, and the unseen person is.
Lizzy Gabor, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. For the season guests, you understand that we do start a few minutes early to share some background work with you and keep it informal, keep it real, which is what it's all about. And in this instance, you're not seeing Lizzie's face, you're seeing an icon of hers. We're having a technical issue right now, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But to do the commercial side first thing in the morning, I'm already tongue tied. It's going to be a long day for me, folks. That being said, basically, what happens here is you can visit us live through Facebook live stream. You can look at us through LinkedIn. You can look at us through YouTube. You can leave comments. We encourage that, by the way, because we love to get your feedback. I need all the help I can get in trying to figure out my confusion of this right brain yin and yang stuff. If you're seeing us on the copied version, not the live version, that's okay too. Please still leave your comments. We do audit those sections and we do get back to you, and feel free to share with us and people around you. So for those who are just coming on, either now or in a little bit, normally you would see Lizzie's face, but we're having some technical issues. So she's presenting an icon of herself because this must go on, folks. Actually, this does me a favor. She keeps trying to win me over. And I think she deliberately tries to bedazzle me to get me sucked into her theme of what she's trying to present for the moment. So now that I'm not burdened trying to see all that glare and glitter and glitz, nice to, this I hope it's not too misogynist, nice to look at, but now I can focus on the subject, the theme, the topic. So this makes it easier for me to interact back and forth. Thank you, Lizzie, for this favor. I do appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So anything to get me on to her side of the world. And what do I mean by that? Well, basically, I'm a left brain kind of guy. And I give me the details, give me the facts, the timelines, and I will make some very good decisions. Whereas Lizzie is more the right brain phenomena, I call it. She has an extensive history in her industry. Please check the links below for the YouTube version to discover what they are. And she believes firmly, she advocates it, she lives it, that wellness comes from a sense of mindfulness, a sense of awareness. I think at some point I'll get that description correct, maybe. So anyway, we're having this debate back and forth because I'm just not getting it. And somehow I'm trying to make some sense of it because my left brain is working very hard at this. So, and we don't rehearse this. We don't have any pre-dialogue of how this goes. It's purely spontaneous. But we do share topic. I want to give her some head start on this. And the topic is today when she speaks, this is our 27th one. We'll get that banner up flowing in a little bit here. She gets a sense of, or gives me a sense of you find mindfulness. It just, you turn a light switch on and you're down that great path or up that great path of better value to yourself, your family, your business. And I can't believe it's not just like turning a switch on. There's got to be something else. So the theme today in part is the issue of, as part of our discussions, that there has to be a pre-self-awareness, I guess. And I don't think that comes easy because there are a lot of people who I think have lived at the bottom of their world. They've been compromised. They've been told where they're not worth. They're just trying to keep a warm roof over their head sometimes. And I think people are sometimes so overwhelmed with moment-to-moment existence to have the space, the energy, the wherewithal to see something beyond that, I think would be a challenge. And so my challenge today to Lizzie is, well, how does one like that match? I know without going, and I'm not asking for details of people, but I know, Lizzie, for you, it wasn't like you woke up one morning and said, hey, I'm going to become a mindful kind of lady today. If you could share with us how it evolved for you, it might
Yeah,
make sense to the people who are listening.
of course. I believe that we all have like this spark within us. I think that's how we had started to talk about it, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that for myself, that spark over time got dimmed, and caused me a lot of problems like anxiety and just both just mental health and even just physically just not feeling just overwhelmed, anxious, numbed out, vacillating between that, tensed. I didn't know how to breathe properly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I was breathing very shallowly for a long time because I just was very reactive to what was the feelings of people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it happened because I experienced a meditation by accident, and I came out of that first hour feeling like, wow, I don't know what this is. I think I've said this
So
before, but
I got to interrupt.
mhm,
You're really jumping through a lot here. So it was my understanding, without knowing details, is that
mhm.
somebody recognized in you were having a moment that wasn't necessarily the best for you. So I think the invite wasn't so much let's go and get involved in mindfulness. It's like let's go to a spa.
Yeah.
I could see where that could be a trigger for a lot of people for many
Yeah, no,
different
she
reasons.
did not. She did not invite me as no. I don't. She didn't either know that it was about
Wow,
mindfulness. It was really
interesting.
just to take a break together. And I think she recognized that I was overwhelmed. And do you think you can get away for a little bit to kind of have a little reset, recharge? So we both did not know. I mean, she didn't have the same reaction to it as I did, but she also
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the same level of stress and anxiety going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about, so that became my beginning of just like practicing building a flexible like mind. Our mental hygiene, I think, just rarely gets the attention
Mm-hmm.
that it needs, and so it gets neglected and rigid, and then your life can become tortured and painful and
Yeah,
difficult,
I hear
and
that.
you can ease that. I mean, there's just a lot of ways that I teach people how to ease that. And it begins with like thinking about new ideas of ways of thinking,
I hear that. Now,
stopping allowing your thoughts to consume you.
I hear that. It's funny as I'm listening to Lizzy, it comes to mind. I've never been to Alaska, but you watch these movies where or these programs, they have these these races across the snow, and those dogs that pull the sleds. Are they huskies? I forget what they're called.
Yeah, I think they're Siberian Huskies.
Yeah, and there you thank you. And so sometimes you watch the dog who's just hot to trot. They're hot to go. Let's get started. The guy's keeping the brake on. Well, that's Lizzy. She just wants to go with this. So I get your enthusiasm along with your skill, but I got some questions behind that. What
Uh-huh.
occurred to me as you made the comment, it wasn't that somebody saw, the catalyst here, if I'm hearing it correctly, the stimulant wasn't so much that says, Lizzy, you need help. It was somebody else that was having their own sense of moving an escape, if nothing else, at that time, and wanted to share it with somebody else, and didn't even have necessarily an awareness of where you were at that moment either. But hey, let's do this together. And I think for ladies, perhaps that's much more likely to happen than maybe a guy. Maybe I don't know. Not having been a woman, I can't answer that. So the two of you went kind of open-eyed. The basic expectation was getting away from what has been for the moment to do something different. And even that was intriguing. So even though she was the stimulant or the catalyst, perhaps, it grabbed at you, it didn't grab at her. And so the messaging I'm getting out of this is that sometimes it takes, if you have, someone in your world, your environment, you think that might need some help, perhaps, whether you understand it or not, whether you see it or not, if you see there's some kind of distress, make an offer, not only
Mhm.
for that person, but for yourself also. And am I reading that correctly?
Yes, I love that you read that, and I think it's actually a really good way for you yourself to get yourself immediately feeling better by doing that doing that.
See how she says you yourself, even without, she's still trying to grab at me, folks. But we'll pass through that one and move on. She
Or
means you.
as
She means you, third person in the audience, not
That's
me.
what I mean. As someone in the audience, yes, doing something nice for someone else, they'll be surprised, and you'll get reap the benefits as well. And it's interesting because I mean, it's so much in our culture where we don't take these breaks. Like, and there's a lot of other cultures that it's built into their
Mm.
day. They start, and they have a cup of tea in England or whatever. In other countries, they take a nap, or they do,
The
have these things
fiesta. You're right. Yeah.
built into their day. We just don't. We have this mentality of just like grind, grind, grind. If you slow down and stop and recharge, you're lazy, or
Mm.
you're gonna miss some opportunity. But it's really the opposite. I believe that just taking those little acts of self care and resetting yourself and recharging yourself, whether it's taking a walk, whatever it is for you, that makes you feel good. And again, doing it with a friend, calling a friend and just, telling them that you care about them, or just seeing how they're doing, checking in with somebody. It can just shift their day, your day. And so, yes, what you're saying is when you reach out to someone else in connection to help lift them up, you lift yourself up as a result.
Fair enough. And I like your phrase recharge. It's not, people say slow down, but even your smartphone needs to be recharged every now and then to give its full value back to you. So it really isn't a slowdown. It's taking a moment, advantage of a moment to reboost, recharge yourself. And so that's a good word that I hung a hat on too. I also want to make another observation, even when Lizzy is not in a full visual mode. As I'm looking at her icon, and I might ask her as she counts, say 1, 2. Could you say just count 1, 2, 3 for me?
1, 2, 3.
See that little ring of glow around her? This lady's just so creative. How does one do stuff like that? So even in the non-visual moment, she still has some impact in terms of her world around her. Maybe that explains her success, I guess, at least in part. But it's an intriguing concept. So to summarize where I am on this is that it's not like someone's going to turn a light switch on and say, I need to be. And one of the things we didn't talk about maybe today, but more, actually we will touch it today more next time around, that's an external example. Say a friend will reach out to somebody and let's share something different. Let's do a recharge. I think that I like that phrase better than let's do an escape, because an escape may imply guilt. It may apply something exotic, perhaps, or risque, perhaps. It's a matter of how you look at it. But I'm the left brain guy, so I love the word recharge. It just has more impact with me. Having said that, though, what about people who may be in an environment that may not have that option? That maybe their total 8-block zone, radius zone of environment is they're pushed down, pressured down, stomped down, and the external resource may not be available for them. And I said it's only 4 minutes left, so we'll talk more about that. But are there little things that one might do from your case studies to work in that direction?
Yeah, I think if someone's feeling overwhelmed, tired, worn out from life, whatever it may be, the first step I would say is to ask yourself what you need right now in this moment. Not what you should do or what someone else wants you to do, but what do you need? Maybe it could be just stop and take a few deep breaths, or drink a glass of water.
I'm going to interrupt. I grew up in a single parent household. Sometimes the need right now is putting food on the table for the kids. Sometimes the need right now is making sure they have warm clothing for the cold day tomorrow. I knew a kid back in school who was in a challenged environment. Middle of winter time, Chicago winter wind chill, he'd come in a light spring jacket. And the teacher this is elementary school, got so irate at him that told him, you go home and you don't come back without having a coat on that's a winter coat. He didn't come back for 3 days because clearly they had no winter coat available to put on him. And the teacher approached me the third day, well, you know this guy better than anybody else. What's his history? And I didn't know the inside of it, but they were challenged as a mom, single parent, son syndrome. So sometimes that's the most immediate need. So I'm talking about that kind of environment. And I don't know if there's a solution or not, but do you have an address for people who may have shared that? Maybe not quite so badly at the moment, but...
Yeah, I think that really acknowledging that you need help and asking for it is an indicator of strength, not weakness. So looking at where you need support to bring down overwhelm and get your basic needs met and to feel more in control is really is vulnerability and courage at its best. And so trying to do it on your own is, well, I think that's the most overwhelming. So start by acknowledging how you feel, ask for support, and identifying what little things can you tackle to gently, help you.
Seek help. And what I've also observed from my part of the world, and you have a deeper perspective, a lot of people who feel trapped in that condition are really underachieving themselves. They're really taking or developing full value for themselves. So it's not just a matter of an escape again. concept or to get out of a concept. It's more of a moving forward concept. Am I hitting that correctly?
Yes, it's a moving forward. It's a letting go of what you can't control, and doing the things that you do have control over,
Mm-hmm.
and protecting your own energy, trying to be around people they're not going to suck the energy and life out of you,
Mm-hmm.
rather than try to find a mentor, try to find somebody that's going to help you see your potential
Mm-hmm.
that's in you, help you realize that and see that me see it in you before you see it in yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people, it might be a teacher, it might be a friend, it might not be in your immediate household.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to go outside your household to find that person or those people, but they're out there.
In fact, you bring a point that really shifted my thinking. And I had been advocating, share your thoughts, share your concerns with us, help me out on this. I want to hopefully make this more meaningful. If you know people who may need of help, make a comment. We'll keep it confidential. We'll get back to you privately because it's something not necessarily shared that could be of value to that particular person. So when you make your comments, that you might want to do it in that manner. Or even if you don't want to leave a name, but you have a question, well, I know someone you can do a third party. I know someone who might need help. What might be a first step or a second step? And we're not a social service agency here by any stretch, but there, and I suspect Lizzy has access to these other facets of what she does to help people out, at least in theory. So we can't likely serve that purpose, but you've just added to me much more meaning to this dialogue that Lizzy and I are having. That's not so much to help my confusion, but hopefully to help you, the audience, your concerns and confusions also. Does that make sense, Lizzy, what I'm saying?
Absolutely, absolutely, and especially during this time that we're in, where life has changed so drastically. Reach out. I would love to help you, provide value for you, for your friends, for your loved ones. If people are struggling, that's I have lots of free resources, and want to serve. So
Sounds
yes.
good. Well, once again, we run past our time zone by a whole minute here and we're having fun. Thank you, Lizzy, for not bedazzling to me today. I appreciate that technical error that's happened here, a glitch. And I'm looking forward to doing this again, same time next week, yes?
Yes, me too. Very much so. Have a great week, everyone.
Okay, same here. Thank you, folks.